Good afternoon, wealthy people. Thank you for tuning in to another wealthy conversation. I can't wait to share with you these panelists that we have tuned in with us today. We're going to talk about an industry that I feel does not get enough exposure at all, really, for what they really ultimately do for us as a culture, as a people, and in their respective industry. Before we get started, I am Tiara, your financial coach, your financial consultant, and your business mentor. I am your intellectual vision advisor. Make sure if you want more wealthy conversations like this, make sure you drop it in a comment. If there is a conversation that we're not having that you would like us to have, share that information. Feel free to email me. All my contact and tags will be below. But let's jump right in and let's get started. They're so great. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So I am going to turn it over to our panelists to say hello to you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Tiara, for having me. My name is Miss Peters, and my establishment is Philly Finest Hair Salon. This year, actually, we are celebrating our 20 years, which I am so happy to announce. And it's been a blast. The journey of just being a salon owner and just entrepreneur. Of course, we all have our challenges, but I must say, it's always the light at the end of the tunnel that keeps me just fighting and just continuing this journey. It's just been amazing. So thank you for having me tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
Thank you, Tiara, for having me. I am Touched by Ash. I am located in St. Petersburg. I have been in business for 8 years. I have been braiding since about 22, 23 years, and I love it overall.
Yes, thank you both for being here. These are two of my favorite stylists, and I have to be honest, I really don't like sharing them, but because I love unselfishly, here they are right here on our platform having wealthy conversations, because that is what we do at Iva Enterprises. So I'm going to ask you, can you describe, as we're honoring Women's History Month, right? Can you tell us what it's like to be a woman, a Black woman in the cosmetology industry today? What has that experience been like for you, Ms. Sharon?
It's been, to be honest, I wouldn't say it's been a struggle. I know as a woman and having to deal with family, having to deal with children, having to deal with your husband, and being able to put those hats on and still put it down and change it consistently, it's a balance. And I think anything in women per se, because it's all about structure, right? Mm-hmm. Having the vision to know what you want and to continue to pursue it, and still being able to still have time for yourself in the midst of it all. So in honor to the Women's History Month, I personally feel like, I always tell my kids, even with Mother's Day, I'm like, don't just honor me on one day. Give me the whole 365. I need the 365 because, we put in work all the time, girl. And it's really, it's a hard, bumpy road, but I personally feel as though if you have the right supporters in your corner, it makes the boat less bumpier, so I would do it all again. And yeah, I would do it all over again and with no problem. I mean, it's been a blast. And like I said before, with this 20 years, coming from a different state, from Philadelphia, and having to build roots in St. Petersburg, that was really, truly challenging, because you start to second guess yourself because of the things that you're used to. And so coming to just a different state and building my brand and having people that accepts it and looking for it and encouragement and just the support, it's really remarkable to see, and for my children to actually hopefully continue this legacy. So it's good. I'm loving it. Yeah, it's good.
Well, we love you in it, and all those hats, you wear them so well. So keep doing
Okay.
what you're doing. Okay.
Thank you, love. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because it's hard, like I said, just being a mom, period, and having to balance just life. Sometimes you feel like it's not a lot of hours in a day, but once you truly establish, like I said, that structure, I personally feel as though it's all worth it.
Absolutely. I love what you
Yeah.
said. I could not have said that any more beautifully, especially the part about coming from a different state, and then jumping right in where you don't have the same support. No one knows you. No one knows your work ethic or your style or your skill or your ability, and having to rebrand yourself and being able to do that, in an industry for over 20 years. That is truly amazing. And to be able to, I think what's awesome about what you said is what your children will actually see. Like, my mom didn't just start a business, like she started a brand in a completely different state, and she ran with it for years, all the way until the point that I now have the torch to make it the next level or take it to the next level. That's what I love most about what you said. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Because like I said, it's hard. And that's why, one thing I encourage my children, I always say the beginning, it's just like, infants, you have to crawl before you walk. And, the main thing is, if you see your eye on the prize, just don't give up, because your life is what you make it at the end of the day,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good.
What about for you, Miss Ashley? What has the hair industry been like for you, in your opinion?
Well, I would piggyback off of what she said. It is hard to balance being a wife, a mom, and a stylist. I tell my husband all the time, I feel like I have 3 jobs. When I get off one, I got to go home and I got to be a mom. And then when I'm done settling with the kids, I got to be a wife. Yes, like, a man, he is the head of household. Thank you, Lord, I married well. But I still want to be the woman of my house. I still want to be a mother to my kids. And my hustle, my income determines my hustle. So if I don't come to work, I'm not making no money. And doing braids is harder because I can't do a relaxer and just be done with it. I have to stand up on my legs, my feet hurt all the time. If they're not sitting right, my back hurt. Then I'm carrying all that home. Then if I say, I got 2 clients left, those 2 clients could be 3 hours each. Versus if I'm just styling hair, I could be, in and out. But it's hard. My kids, they don't understand. My husband, he's getting better. But overall, I love it. But I have been learning to put my family first. Because when I'm sick, when I'm depressed or anything, at the end of the day, I'm home.
Yeah.
And I'm swallowing all that. I cannot take work home. And clients don't understand that. They don't care rain, sleet, or snow. They here. They don't care if you have a death in the family. They don't care if your kids are sick. They don't care. You can come in with COVID and they still want their hair done. But versus, like, you've been in the hospital. Like, I had an incident before when my grandfather died, and then the lady, I counseled on her in a timely manner, and she was like, "Oh, dang, I wish I would have knew that." And I'm like, "Well, I wish I would have knew that too." So yeah, people, they don't understand, and that it literally, I have every 5 clients is always at least one bad one, but my good always, thank you, Lord, outweighs the bad. So that's what keeps me in it. And plus, I love what I do. I love what I do. When I say I need a break, I can go for like a week, but then I'm right back. I'm thinking about hair. I'm thinking about new hairstyles. My specialty is with the kids. So of course, they're my babies. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to keep them happy, keep their parents happy, so they can keep bringing me their money. But, like, overall, I love it. I love the hair industry. I love my husband. I love my kids, but I'm a wife and a mom before anything.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I think that when I think about the industry and your commitment to it, I think that's really overlooked. I think that when it comes to your personal, right, that can be something that is overlooked versus when you're in corporate America, right, you have time off or PTO, but you are your business as a hairstylist, right? So when things happen, like where unfortunately you had a passing in your family, and clients, you have bereavement time in corporate America, but you guys don't get that. You kind of have to make it your own. So I really think maybe not the industry is insensitive to that, but I can see how clients can sometimes be, insensitive to something like that. So I think that was a good topic to bring up, so that way the world is aware, like, you guys have personal lives, things happen. We're facing some very unprecedented times, right? Like, no one saw this coming. And I have to say, as a consumer, I was worried about my stylist. Like, when they were talking about essential workers, first of all, I didn't realize I was an essential worker. I'm like, if we're supposed to be quarantining, why do we need money? Why are you coming in? What are you buying? COVID? Like, I was wigging out. I was like, I don't understand why they need money. The way I look at it, when it comes to my hairstylist versus me being in the banking, I don't see that banking is more important, not necessarily my head. And this is why, for me, you guys do way more than my hair. There was a time when I came to Philly's Finest, and she doesn't know this, but I was having a moment in my life, and she didn't just get my hair right. She got my head right. It was what she said to me in that moment. And I think that the industry disregards how essential a hairstylist is, right? The conversations that we have. When I'm in your shop, like, I'm not a mom. I am not a banker. I am not a financial consultant. I am just Tiara coming to get her hair washed. And yes, I can wash my own hair, but it's something so sporadic and essential about having somebody else. God bless your daughter's hands, because when she washes my hair, it is like that moment for me. It really is. It smells good. The music is always right. I'm always like, what is she playing? Is this a CD? I'm always saying that in my head. You guys, your staff is always professional. I've never been there. It's always clean. I've never not seen that place clean. I don't care what is going on in the world. It's always clean. It smells good. Like, oh my God. That's why I'm saying you guys are essential. Okay. I don't care what the world says about who should be essential workers. With all sincerity, you guys are so essential. And the conversation, sometimes it is just that conversation where I might just need to say this. And what you said to me that day is, girl, you can't say it like that. And I didn't once consider that was rude, insensitive, inconsiderate. I was just being me in a moment. And I was like, oh, after you said that, it made me acknowledge the way I approached that situation. Like, man, maybe that wasn't the right tone. That wasn't the right delivery. So it's not just about doing our hair. It's what you also do for the inside of our head.
I mean, we're like psychiatrists, right? Without the PhD, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I think in our profession, it's given. I know, just working in different salons prior to owning my own, and having to be around different stylists, and I some stylists would just do that, would just style your hair, but then you actually have stylists, like hair stylists that would actually physically kind of like, what's the word for it? It's more like a mentor, or more, it's more like that. Okay, this is how I would do something, or you're kind of mentioning or soundboarding off of me, and I can say, no, this is how I would go about doing that, more
Right.
out of love, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, that's one thing personally for me, and what my philosophy is with, even with my daughters that's underneath me, is just, I would say, if you're going to do something, put your 100% into it. Just don't do it because you're trying to make money, because all money ain't good money, and I mean,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? It's not worth
Absolutely.
it, girl. That
Yes.
ain't, just to go through that whole, you trying to tell me how to do my job. it's
Girl,
not
you better
worth it to me. Yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
It's really not. And I think, one thing with COVID, even though it does have its pros and its cons, I think personally for me, the pro is really showing me what's important, what's really important, and how I want to be able to be at certain places and give it my 100 at every place, and me having to just redo my whole philosophy as far as how I want to make sure that I have my time in every aspect of my life, and making sure that I'm not cutting myself short in it either. Because, even though we drain and we give a lot to our clients, we want to make sure that we're completely whole. Because if we're not whole as a stylist, it's like you're draining our energy. So we have to keep ourselves 100 at all times as well,
Right.
too. So, you know what I mean? So that's also important.
And
I think
that's mentally and physically.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
love
It's
that.
important. It's
I love
important.
Speaking on that, Ashley, let's go there. What is it like mentally, or what type of best practices do you implement to kind of help yourself stay grounded mentally with dealing with all our drama, all our whatever we're coming in to talk about that day? What do you do to help yourself stay have a clear head, I guess?
Well, for one, when I wake up, before I say good morning, babe, good morning, daughters, before I leave the house, I have to pray. I have to read the Bible, Psalms 35 through 41, because I don't know what, especially with a new client, I don't know what I'm going to walk into. I don't know what spirit you're going to bring into me. So before all of that, I need to block it. And I'll come in, I turn on Pandora. When they walk in, they hear the church music. Okay, for one, you finna get that vibe. Don't come here with all that, because I ain't got time. But often when I do get those clients that bring that negative energy, 9 times out of 10, I just can't hush. I'm gonna say something. And like you said, it's out of love. Especially like with the young teenagers. I don't want to hear about you arguing about a boy. Because I'm older. I have a 15-year-old and a 4-year-old. I don't want that to be my daughter. So I try to tell them stuff that if I was my daughter's hairstyle, which I am, but I would want someone to tell my daughter. But with the negative, like dealing with the different spirits and stuff, I don't say spirit energies, it's hard. It's hard. And because I got some of those clients that are really ghetto, then I got some of those clients that are, Christians and stuff, and are really into the church. So I try to schedule those ones on different days. So
I like it.
Yeah.
You don't want to mix and mingle, huh?
I don't want to do that. Yeah. And I tell everybody, like, I love God and trap music. So my move for that day, but I'm going to adapt to my client. If my client is too ghetto, I'm going to, okay, turn it down just a little bit, because at the end of the day, this is still my place of business. It's not my living room, this not a trap. You can't come here. You can't smoke. We're not going to yell. We're not going to scream. We're not going to talk about our baby daddies. We're not going to do that. But if you need me to vent, come on, let's go. Give me a hug. Sometimes I got to get up and I got to get them a hug. So, okay, it's going to be all right. We all done been there before. Do we need to stop on this braid and pray real quick? Because we can do that too. And then like with the kids, I've been doing a lot of kids since they were toddlers, and they're teenagers now. They can relate to me first and talk to me quicker than they talk to their parents.
Yeah. So you're like family.
Yes, yes. I'm either Auntie Ashley, Touched by Ash, or Miss Ashley. I don't care. Just come talk to me versus, crazy stuff. So I
Yeah.
get like different types of clients. Of course, especially with braids. White, black, Spanish, whatever. I got all types. But I still have to control, not letting their energy control me. Because regardless how they treat me, if it's a rude or disrespectful client, it's hard for me to hold my composure sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll just dismiss them. I'll just dismiss them because, like you said, all money ain't good money. You're not gonna talk to me crazy. I'm not gonna talk to you crazy. We can come in here. I'm gonna do my best. I'm not gonna come in here upset because I don't want you to think that you did anything to me or that I don't want to do your hair.
Right.
Because of whatever else I have going on.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I really haven't had like a oh my gosh situation with a client. Any other time, if it's me, I'll sit in the car for a little minute.
Yeah.
I love it though. You have some type of strategy in place. And I love what you said. What I really heard you say is that you protect your boundaries with prayer. I think that's essential in any industry, no matter who you are or what you're doing. You're setting a tone for yourself, for your day, for your business, for your spirit, right? I think that's so important. And that's one thing that I love about you as my stylist. Like, we have no problem stopping what we're doing. Like, girl, let me pray. Can you pray with me real quick? Like, it doesn't matter where we are. We could be in the middle of the mall buying our kids shoes, and we're like, "Ooh, did you see that, girl? Let's pray about this thing first."
Okay.
And that experience, that's what I mean about you guys being essential. That's why you're essential, because you provide more than just a hair service. You provide a full experience for what really goes on inside our head, And I want to ask you, Ms. Sharon, do you have a best practice when it comes to, dealing with those kind of tough situations, and how do you maintain your mental health in situations day by day?
Yeah. That's important.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. It's when you're dealing with the public, sometimes it's like rolling the dice. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. I think that you both are doing such a good job. You hit on something earlier, and I wanted to ask, in your opinion, has the pandemic or COVID caused you to pivot or change the way you would normally do business? And what has that been like as a stylist, especially for you, Ms. Sharon? You've been in the industry for going on 20 years now. That's a long time, and to have something that you can't plan, that you did not see coming, and having to kind of pivot and keep going. Because I was worried. Like, I don't go to the hairstylist as much as I would like to. But I was worried about y'all. I was like, oh my God, they're going to shut them down? Like, what are they going to do? Like, how are they going to make through with this? So how has that caused you to pivot? What has the pivot been like for you?
I think with me, thankfully, it really just showed me a different way of moving. I think prior to COVID, my salon and my clients was already established, so it just kind of helped me. I think now with me personally, it's just more like my whole established is just appointments only. Prior to that, we were doing like walk-ins and so forth. And that literally just balanced me out even more, especially like I said, with my kids and so forth, to just having time and structure for my kids, myself, and my husband. And if it wasn't for COVID, I think that would not have came into fact. I think I would have probably been still doing things the same way. And the good thing is, it allowed me not having to, it just really balanced me out in a way where if it wasn't for COVID, I don't think I would have changed anything before COVID. So,
Me too.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think it really, that was the best move that it could have made. I think that whole month when they did that stay-at-home order, at first it was just like, oh my gosh, I felt like I had to be in a salon. I had to do this. I had to do that. But in actuality, you know, it wasn't really as necessary as I thought it would have been, you know. So it really balanced it out a lot for me.
Good, good.
Which was
I'm
good.
glad to hear that, because I was worried. I was like, oh my God, what are they gonna do? I can't get to them. They can't come to me. We've got a social distance. Oh my God, no salon. I was having I was having a panic attack. And maybe I was guilty about not going like I should. And I'm like, oh my God, because I'm getting older now, right? And as we get older, you know, your elasticity in your hair changes, and I'm starting to, you know, hereditarily, we have graying in the front, so my edges are gray now. And so I'm like, oh my God, what I'm gonna do? I need my stylist. I can't see my style. On the inside, I was freaking out. So I'm glad to hear that provided a level of, you know, balance for you, because I think that's important for you guys, because like you're saying, you're better for us when you're the best versions of yourself, you know, and you have that balance, and you can feel like, oh, I'm a great mom, I'm a great wife, I'm a great stylist, I'm a great entrepreneur. So I'm happy that brought that side out, and then you were able to see like, hey, I can still do this even with this pandemic. Yeah, schedule appointments.
Still work, you can still do your clients, you can still do everything you needed to do, but you don't have to be in a salon from that. You know what I mean? It kind of like showed you just a different way of making money, but still making money.
I love it. I love it. What about you, Miss Ashley? What did your pivot look like? How did that transition, if anything?
It actually didn't. Like COVID braids, they were giving out so much money for COVID that they just kept booking appointments. So I never had the slow down process. And then of course, like people, they was calling me the same day trying to get paying $100 extra just to get squeezed in. But once COVID got really bad, I was like, wait, you know, let me slow down. So now it's strictly appointment only. I do not do same day appointments, and never will. I don't care how much they got, because 9 times out of 10, I'm planning something with my family.
Yeah.
And COVID has got me, it didn't really affect my work, but it did my household. It made me appreciate them more, because when I got sick, them clients went elsewhere. And my family was the one bringing me Gatorade, checking on me, you know, taking care of me. So once I got better, I spent more time with my family.
I love it. I never thought about that for you guys, how that allowed you to spend quality time in places that ultimately, had the pandemic not happened, you know, you would still be in the mindset that, oh, I need to be present in the salon. So I'm glad that you took advantage of that. You know, you said something, and I really think this is important with your industry as far as cosmetology and the pandemic stimulus that we're being given out. Do you feel that the hair industry was given an equitable amount of funding when it came to relief for what was going on?
No.
Yeah. You don't think so?
Yeah.
Why do you think not?
I don't think so, because like versus the homes and like people, they was able to stop paying rent at their houses. We still had to pay rent in the salons, even though the government told us that we had to shut down. And we really wasn't, like a lot of, well, it didn't affect me, my friends, they weren't able to make money, because what they do, they cannot do at home.
Yeah.
So they had to basically like, okay, I'm going to pay rent from where else? The money I'm not even making. And then when they gave out the grants money, that wasn't nothing but money to catch up on the bills that was still rolling in their salons.
I like it.
So I don't think and then with the Bonner Brother Hair Show, the Bonner Brother Hair Show helped a lot of people, including me. versus exposure and going there buying a lot of stuff wholesale, for the braiding industry. They canceled it at the last minute because of COVID. So we weren't able to take advantage of that extra income that we were anticipating on.
Yeah. I think like with me personally, I mean, it's good to have those grants and those stimulus, but to be, I've always tried to keep my hustle with or without the government, you know what I'm saying? Because, it's good to have those additions, but at the same token, you can't rely on it because you don't know if you fit in that bracket of approval,
That's
So
why I said earlier, like when I was explaining, like to my husband, my hustle, I don't have a salary. I don't get a paycheck every Friday. I get a day-to-day. It's first client, last client. My income determines my hustle.
Yeah. And the thing is, so once you just establish your structure on that, and, even for clientele and in your book, and, that will actually give your clients, what's the word for it? It's like a pattern you're building for them, and they will be able to accept that, because I don't know, I think personally with myself, it's, I think when I first started my business, and we all, like I said, have to go through those tiers of, you have to be at the beck and call in a sense, right? And then once you get your clients and you establish your clients and you incorporate them, and then now you have your following. I think with me, it's just, once you train them to how you want to have them, it makes it easier for you to make your budget and say, okay, this is how much I know once you get them on that routine, I don't know, and with braids, I don't know how often you book your clients or what have you, but once you know what your monthly expenses and your budgeting and your so forth, you can kind of know, okay, this is how much I know I'm going to make a certain month, or this is how much, that you have to be in the salon, because sometimes, even if you're there at the salon, you got to still worry about that overhead, your electric, your water. So all of those things can take away from, your actual monthly versus it being an expense. So that's, something that you have to consider too. But I think with COVID, and depending on a lot of people too, how, a lot of the times they want to make sure that you're giving IRS, of course, their backing. You have to, because they're not going to give you these funds if you got things that's not all the way. Exactly. So that's another thing too, that I think a lot of people were not benefiting from those funds, is because, and that's another thing, as, business owners, we got to make sure a lot of those things are in complied with what they're looking for in order to get those benefits, because if not, they're not going to approve it.
Absolutely. I could not have said it better myself. And I'm just looking at it from a financial standpoint. It's like, if you didn't put anything in the pot, how can you expect something out of the pot?
To get it?
So if you're not structured properly, if you're not paying taxes, lots of times people say that to me, as a tax preparer, like, hey, well, why am I not getting the return? And I said, well, you didn't pay taxes all year. What are you getting back?
Yeah, you can't have your hand out if you didn't actually put your hand in. So it's not going to work in your favor at all, So that's another thing I know, just definitely with myself, having me as an employee of my business, that actually worked out tremendous for me, not knowing, okay, I have to pay those monthly taxes.
Right.
And the long end, it was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I did it.
Right. You got that deduction, right? You have to, and that's one thing that I tell people as a business coach or a financial coach. It's all about the strategy of your money. You don't have to have millions, right? You don't, it's all about how you create your strategy that works for you. You have to find what works for you personally. You have to find what works for you professionally. And when they don't align, that's when we find ourselves paying more in taxes. We're financially frustrated. We don't have enough. We keep telling ourselves we're broke. And I'm like, well, if you keep saying you're broke, you're right. You're going to be broke, because what's broke is up here. It's in your mindset, right? I feel feel like I can't say that enough, because truly that's where that seed of wealth really starts. It starts in the mind. But I think I love what you said about, you kind of weren't looking for it. Like, okay, if they gave funding, okay, that's just extra gravy. I already have myself set up in a way that no matter what happens, whether or not we're in a pandemic or whatever life event happens, you're set up in a way that your business wouldn't be impacted, which ultimately, to me, that's really protecting your family, your hustle. You know what I mean? Because you have it set in such a way that, and despite what happens, we're going to be okay. We're going to move forward in that. I love it. When you think about, you said, Ms. Sharon, you're going on your 20th year anniversary. With that much time in the industry, what do you feel you're most proud of achieving in the cosmetology industry so far? What are you most proud of?
Just staying true to my brand, staying true to myself. And I didn't want to say I had any naysayers, but you do kind of doubt yourself, because again, me coming from a different state and having to build and having my vision, that's something that can, it's just like with anything, you can doubt yourself and just be like, well, maybe this is just too much, or maybe I'm not doing enough, and, one thing and foremost is just, like I said, keeping God in the driver's seat. That's been always the end of my period, versus my husband. He always talks me off the ledge a lot because I'm the type that, if I see it, then that's true. That's what I'm going to go for, because I see it and I'm going to run with it. And I think, looking back and, I'm having my 20th anniversary, and both of you guys are welcome to come out. It's going to be April the 27th. I'm going to do the ribbon cutting. Yeah. The mayor is going to be there. And I think a lot of it, when I look back at it, it would just be like, I just didn't give up. I didn't give up, and it's remarkable. And I think, with, you, Terry, my daughter, she's there, and my other daughter, she's there. And, I think with their generation, and it's crazy I'm saying generation, because I thought I would never say that. But I don't think the hustle, I don't think the drive, I don't think that spark is as bright and as it was with me, and I don't know with you, Tiara, and I know when you having your business and you building it, you have it in your daughter's name, and the whole thing is like, we're paving this way for our children, but are they willing to step up and take the torch? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what, and that's the thing, is like, you doing your thing, you making sure that you're giving them a legacy, and will they want it as much as we do? So I think that's one thing, looking back at this 20 years, it's like, okay, I put the work in, and now it's like, you want to take it to the next chapter, you know what I mean? So it's just not giving up. Don't ever give up.
Don't ever give up. I love it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Don't ever give up.
What about for you, Miss Ashley? What are you most proud of? Being a braider, the impact of your hands, your back, your feet, what are you most proud of being a braider for 22 years now?
I wouldn't say what I'm most proud of, but my proudest moment is when I won Hairstylist of the Year. And I was up against, to me, the best of the best. So I just anticipating on going there, looking cute. That was it. And when they called my name, I sat there for like 3 seconds until someone tapped me on my shoulder and was like, go get your trophy. And I'm like, oh, they really? Oh, you heard it too. Okay. So I know I ain't tripping. But I don't know. It's like that moment, my family was so proud. Like, my family was so proud of me. My kids, my daughter at the time, it was just one. She was so proud of me. My clients was extremely proud. I gained so much more clientele. That's around the time where I had to stop accepting new clients because I had so many.
Wow.
And Yeah, and it was just amazing. Like, even though it was just the Bay Area Awards, like I felt like I was on a BET Awards. My speech was,
As you should.
I was crying and everything. Like, I was so happy, and that was one of my proudest moments. And then it made me realize that, okay, the dreams and goals that I'm chasing, like, other people see that. And I'm like, this many people, because it went on votes. This many people thought enough of me to vote me out of all these amazing other people. And I was up against the best. And I'm like, I can't believe I beat her. So that was so, I was happy. I was happy. I was grateful. I was thankful. And it made me appreciate my clients like way more.
That's good.
I love it. No, as a friend, as a stylist, I think I was like on the other side screaming for you, like on the inside, like, yeah, but honestly, I felt like that was way overdue. Like when it comes to braiding and for me, like I've had the chance to kind of watch you. I watch you go and fly to those hair shows and learn different techniques and educate yourself and, try different styles. Like any style, I feel like when it comes to you braiding, any style that someone gives you, you're going to execute it. Even whether or not you know how to do it, whether or not you're going to confidently say, oh yeah, I can do that, and you just head on. And that's something that I admire about you, and I just was like screaming because I felt like that was well overdue. Like in my head, you've been the best braider in my head. Like you've been that, when it comes to braiding. But like I said, you could be in a shack in the back of your house. When it comes to braiding, I'm coming wherever you are and I'm going to get my hair braided. I know the quality, I know the skill, I know the technique. So in my head, you've been the best. But you really said something amazing, both of you, about really taking your skill to that next level and being fulfilled in your dreams, when it comes to building something where it's your legacy and your family. And I think for me, what I got okay with is I don't care that my daughter does the same thing. I just care that whatever she does, she executes it to the best of her ability. Whatever she does, I don't know what she wants to do. She's 6, it changes all the time. I was just thinking, I hope they don't hear her on the recording of this singing because she has a performance tomorrow. So she's practicing right now. And right now, that's her joy. But I don't know, maybe it will turn into a performing arts school. Who's to say?
Yeah.
What I try to instill in her is to be the best version of yourself, to study your craft, to educate yourself in it, to be the best of the best. If you're going to do it, then you do it with everything in you. Outside of that, I can care less. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to do hair. You don't have to do any of the things that you don't want to do. What I want you to do is become the best version of yourself in what you choose to do. And I feel like if she does that, that's the best reward she can give me. I've set the stage, I've created the platform, and now she's doing whatever it is. And I think that their hustle looks different from ours. Like, not that we're that old, but I just think that's the other thing. Like, I feel like we're very passionate, right? We're gonna study it. We're gonna go to hair shows. We're gonna get the latest products or the latest equipment to do whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. And their hustle doesn't quite look like that. But I don't know, maybe their hustle is more mental than ours. Maybe they're thinking of strategies and other ways to do it to the best of their ability. I don't know, but I love how you're grooming your girls, and they deliver such a great service. Like I said, nobody can wash hair like your daughter. I can wash my hair, but when your daughter washes my hair, it just does something for me. It takes me to another level.
Yeah.
It's just something about it. It's truly an experience. And so I can see.
And I'm with you. I'm with you 100. It's just like my other daughter that's there on Saturday. She's just like, Mommy, I don't want anything to do with the hair business. I'm like, okay. I got to respect that. That's what you want, and I'm totally with you. Whatever you want to do, just be the best at it. And that's the bottom line. As long as you're happy, I'm happy to, and that's what I think is just whatever you do, just try it. Just like I said, just put your 100 into it. That's the best you can do.
I love it. So we're going to wrap it up here. This is going to be our last question. I want to say, if you have one word of advice to give to the woman that you're holding the door for, I think you just said a good one. But is there anything that one word of advice that you would tell her as she's getting ready to step into the world of cosmetology? What's one thing you would say?
Is that referring to me?
Yep,
To
you
me?
can go first and then we'll go
Yeah,
to
you
Ashley.
go first, because I'm still thinking.
Okay, the one word, let me think. Gosh, that's a hard one.
Or what
The
would you
one
say
word
to the old you, when you were
to
trying
the
to
old
figure it
me.
out? Yeah, what would you say to you?
Yeah. That's a good one, Tiara. What I would say to the old me and to the new people, the new ones that's coming through the door, just do the best you can do, I guess. Be the best you can be.
I love it.
Be the best you can be.
Be the best
That's
at
what
it.
I would say. Yes.
I would do name your price and don't apologize for it.
I love that too. Sorry, not sorry. Or as
That's
we
a
say,
good
I
one.
said what I said.
This
I
is
love
it
it.
right here.
I love it. I love it. This was so great. Again, thank you. Thank you both for joining. I feel like this industry definitely needs to have more conversations like this. So I'm just holding the door for the conversation to continue on. All of you out there who are watching, have this conversation with your favorite stylist, your favorite barber. If you have a child that maybe has an interest in cosmetology, share this. I feel like there was so many wealthy things that were shared during our conversation today. Continue to have these conversations. And Ms. Sharon, will you tell the people if they want to become a new client, even though I don't really want them in my spot when I book, because I'm committed to this year staying true to my appointments. I really want to do better about giving myself that moment, because we deserve those moments and that experience. So where can the people find you? How can they follow you? I'm subscribed to our newsletter. So I was already marked my calendar for the ribbon cutting on the 27th of April.
The 27th at 11 a.m.
I'm so ready for it.
You are cordially invited.
I'm definitely going to be there. But where can they find you? How do they contact you? How do they stay up to date on your latest and greatest at Philly Finest Hair Salon?
No doubt. It's going to be, of course, the website, www.phillyfinest, F as in Frank, INEST.com is really going to be just the core of just a foundation. If you want to book an appointment, purchase products, we got our online boutique going, and just keep up on the latest announcements.
Good, great.
Yeah.
And what about you, Miss Ashley? How do we get in contact? How do we book appointments? What's your preferred method of contact?
Well, you can contact me at touchedbyashbraids.com, touchedbyash.com, or you can stop by the salon, 5701 First Avenue South, Suite A.
I love it. I love it. And of course, you know me, I'm Wealth Tiara, always sharing wealthy conversations with you right where you are, helping you come up with the latest strategies. Follow me on Instagram at Wealth Tiara. Follow me on Facebook at Iva Enterprises. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is where this conversation will be posted, so you can play it back over and over till you get it right. And just continue to be wealthy, continue to think wealthy, and continue to have wealthy conversations so that we as a culture can continue to be the best versions of ourselves. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I am Tia.